Greetings! If you have been following my channel at all for the last month or so, you will have seen that I uploaded a series of shorts to give little blurbs to go with each one of my rules. There are 51 of them. But wait, if the last one was Rule 50, how's there 51? Because the first one is Rule 0. And I always tell my students, Rule 0 is so important it comes before Rule number 1. Which, for the record, Rule 0 is if it's not yours, don't touch it. And I would be willing to bet that I probably used that one rule more than anything else in my classroom. Hands down. So, I wanted to provide a little context for the series of rule videos, and I am working on launching this in a longer format. So, rather than it just being the collection of individual rule videos, 51 of them, then there would be a format where it could be all together. There was an introduction video that I made that was the first video in the series. It was a short in and of itself, but I don't think that I fully encapsulated where the rule thing came from and how I actually use it. So, first off, I had a lot of people say, "Oh, that's a lot of rules." That was one of the first comments I got when I started posting them. Yes and no. The thing that teachers like to talk about and administrators like to promote and teacher prep programs like to say, "Oh, you should have no more than 3 rules." Well, okay, that's great. That's also kind of a lie. 3 rules isn't enough to functionally describe the procedures that you have to have in place to have a successful, well-managed classroom. You can have 3 overarching themes that act as like the big rules themselves, but 3 rules is not it in anyone's classroom. I don't think I've ever been in someone's classroom where they truly had 3 rules, and that was that. It's more like, work hard, be kind, be ready, that sort of stuff. Okay, great. So what about when I need to use the bathroom? How do I do that? Well, that's a procedure more than a rule. Okay. Are there rules about when I can or can't go to the bathroom? Do I need to raise my hand? Do I need to make sure that I've taken care of it on my own? So on and so forth. There's lots of little specific situations that require extra care and extra thought from the teacher to make sure that students are set up to be successful. Now, what I wanted to use as my guideline for these rules started out as Gibbs rules from NCIS. If you've ever watched NCIS, you'll know that Gibbs has a set of rules that he lives his life by. And in one of the episodes, he even says, "Oh yeah, a bunch of rules. There's about 50 of them." But his rules are rules for life. It's situations that he gets into and needs some sort of guidance or provides that guidance for others. And that's kind of how he lives his life, both personally and professionally. I remember watching that and thinking that was kind of a powerful idea. You've got these set of rules that you have written down and you can follow that. There's your code. The other thing that I found inspiration from is Ron Clark's Essential 55. When I was first starting as a teacher, that was required reading in my school. I think I probably have 2 or 3 copies of that book now that have been handed to me over the years, either by administrators or other teachers, where like we're doing book study, that sort of thing. Here, read these. This is good stuff. One of the things in Ron Clark's Essential 55 is he talks about the need for explicit structure, explicitly stated guidelines and routines, and that students thrive on structure and routine and knowing what to do in any given situation they might find themselves in the classroom. Then the other piece of that is the rules are both important and rigid and serious, as well as lighthearted and fun. I forget what the number is, but one of his rules is no Doritos. You're not allowed to have Doritos in class. And if you have Doritos, he would destroy the Dorito bag in the most ridiculous, over-the-top, crazy fashion as possible, to the point where students would bring in Doritos just so he could find them and blow up the whole bag of Doritos. I don't know that I've ever gone quite that far, but as you look at my system of rules, or my set of rules, you should notice that some of them are serious, some of them are not. And that's a good thing, because in addition to providing routine and structure and a semblance of order, it's also about building relationships. That's the number one thing about being a teacher. Teachers who are successful may not be the best pedagogues. They may not have the most immaculate, Pinterest-worthy classrooms. They may not have the most well thought out, laid out, logical, coherent lesson plans. But their students will go to battle for them. The best teachers are the ones that have the best relationships, even if it doesn't look like what the traditional relationship should look like on paper. You have students who are die-hard fans of teachers who are very stern. You have students who are die-hard fans of teachers who are very relaxed and lax with certain things. But those relationships are crucial. And when I was creating my list of rules, those relationships were at the forefront of my mind with many of the rules that are created. I want students to know what to do. I also want students to know that it's okay, we have some fun. There's a time for fun, there's a time for work. But the fun should be part of the work, and that should be a regular part of what we do. And that's why it's in the rules. I mean, Rule 23, never mess with a music teacher's coffee. That exists partly because kids want to tease you about, oh, I'm going to take your coffee, I'm going to steal your coffee. No, you're not. No, you're not. Rule 29, Mr. Earley wins. That one, I get more rolled eyes and groans and arguments and silly stuff when we go over the rules at the beginning of the year for that more than anything else. Rule 29, why does Mr. Earley win? Well, my name's on the door. It's my classroom. Also, I made the rules. Mr. Earley wins. So on and so forth. So, as a teacher, my goal is relationships, structure, order, routine, predictability, fun, enjoyment, all of those things. And I would love to think that my set of rules encapsulates that, in my own particular way. Hopefully that comes across in this series of videos. If it doesn't, they're always a work in progress. And as far as the video thing, most of them were shot in one take while I was either at school or in my studio. And don't think too hard about them. It'll be okay. So hopefully you enjoy these, and hopefully you get something out of them. I've been using the rules for quite a while now, and we'll continue to use them for the foreseeable future.